Good evening, good evening, good evening. We are going to start our live with our special guest in about 2 or 3 minutes. I am Iya Olo Alafose. I'm initiated to Oya, and this is my fourth time doing a live about Iya Yansan, and inviting people to come up and share their experiences and how Oya impacts our lives. Tonight's special guest, we have my dear sister, Oya Niyi, also known as, well, born as Nzinga. Um, you will see her in a short minute. And we also are waiting for Baba Solomon to appear. He's way in Nigeria, so I hope he set his alarm. We also have Oyanile and Oloyade also here, and my dear sister Leah Soho. So we're gonna play a little music for you for a sec, and we're gonna start bringing people up on the panel. Um, so sit back, relax, and have your questions ready, as well as any information that you want to share about the things that you are doing on a daily basis that involves change, transformation, transitions, um, growth, balance, clarity, and most of all, how are you dealing with your Iwapele? How is your character? What is happening in your life? We give thanks to our mighty ancestors. We give thanks to our elders and our family that have walked this earth before us. And we give thanks to those ancestors that we do not know personally, but we know that they are rooted in our traditions. Tonight's discussion will touch base on some basic details about Orisa Oya, her initiations, and some of the attributes that are associated with Oya. Someone just texted me, say, "Hey, are you going live?" Yes, I am live right now. And if anybody that is on the panel right now, before I bring you up, can you see the live on Facebook? So I want to make sure that, let me see, let me make sure that it's streaming correctly. I've been testing it and I don't see anything. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Can anybody see the live? And let me go to the chat. Ocean Lade, Bendición. Can you see the live streaming through Facebook? Ocean Lade. Okay, let me turn my music off. And so we're waiting for our sister to come back on the cam. And let me bring up our other sister, Oyani Lay. I'm going to add you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. And let me also, now who is this? Wait a minute. Aloya Day. Ah, let me see. Okay, so she's not camped up right now. I don't know what's going on with Aloya Day. You might have to, because I don't see it. Doesn't It's not allowing me to add you to the stream. I'm touching your photo. All right. Okay, and let me unmute my sister here if she is. All right, so let me mute her again. All right, and let me go to. Okay, I don't know why it's not showing on my computer. Okay, he said he can see. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cam up in a sec. We're waiting for um, Oya Niyi, and I think that I will start off with a prayer to Oya so that we can be all on the same accord. And I'm going to start off with a prayer that it's a prayer that Baba Solomon had given me a while ago, and it was very, very nice. So I will share it with you all. And let me swing this. Okay. All right. Here we go. This is the prayer that one of the prayers that Baba Solomon had given to me a long time ago. If you don't know, Oya is the Orisha of the wind. Oya is the Orisha of change. But most of all, specifically, Oya is the mother of Egungun, of the ancestors. And we perpetuate Oya to protect and guide us, to help us to create a balance in our life that we are not walking this earth as in fear, or we're not walking this earth not having status. Oya brings status to your life. Oya is royalty. Um, Oya is a warrior Orisha. And when we say a warrior Orisha, we're talking about um, having strength, being able to go that extra 9,000 miles. Nothing but victory is accepted. That's Oya. Oya is that force of nature that is associated with the wind, the breath. Oya is an attribute of Olodumare. When we say Olodumare, we're talking about the creator. We're talking about um, how time was created, how this universe was created. We're talking about the stars, the moons, the trees, the plants, the water, everything that exists within this universe belongs to Olodumare, creation, Orisha, the forces of nature. Good evening, Iya. Where did you go? I see we have Aurora in the chat, but she's also chatting on Facebook. We have Tamara Tafari. Thank you for coming in. And we also have my longtime sister back in the back office here, Adrian, who is a Oni Oshun, Omo Oshun. And we now have our guest, and I'm going to unmute her. Welcome, my sister.
Hi.
Alafia, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I say good evening.
Good
So
evening.
I'm going to start off with this prayer um, and humbly asking Oya to bless everyone here this evening, and we can speak to this later. Oya, our mother of Egungun, Oya that was so barren and gave birth in an anthill. Iya Iyansan. Oya Dolu, Oya became a king. Oya Diosin, Oya became a worshipable deity. She who goes to war with just a mortar. Afefe Iku, the wind of death. Obiring, Shango, woman of Shango. Obiring, Marine de Lagoon, Lo de Shango Eyinju, Ni Oya File Wonlo. There were 16 women in the courtyard of Shango, but Oya drove them away with her gaze. That says a lot. And we'll get into some, I said, description or samples of what does that mean? Oya with her gaze. What does that mean? Afefeiku, the wind of death. What does that mean? Oya became a worshipable, tongue tied, worshipable deity. And Oya, mother of Egungun. All right, so we're going to address some of those things later. Um, Currently, right now, I think Oya Niyi, she has um, put her avatar now, and I'm going to cam up right quick. And I'm going to bring on some other sistren up. Oyanile, are you going to stay on the? Okay, you don't have to cam up if you don't want to. All
I'm here.
right.
I haven't gone anywhere.
Okay, so my sister Oyaniye, thank you for wow coming on the live stream tonight. Again, my name is Iya Alafose. This is actually being streamed through my YouTube channel to Facebook. My YouTube channel is called Wind of Prosperity. It's something that I'm building. It is not at what do you call at a million subscribers or anything like that. Why did I create this channel? Something I've been wanting to do for many years. And Oya said, you know what? Let's do this. So, no more fear, no more doubt. Put yourself out there. Share your knowledge, share your experiences, and let's connect with other Ola Oyas. You know, sometimes we are very private, but yet we are we generate work. We're like workhorses. So it's not that we don't want to speak out or be together or mix and mingle with people socially, but we're just so busy figuring out what's the best next thing to do. So without further ado, my sister Oyani Yi, she is here in this live stream in the building, as they would say. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background first?
Okay. Is my camera on? I mean, my audio. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. My name is Nzinga, but my initiation name to Oya is Oyagbemi Niyi, which speaks directly to what you were speaking about earlier. Oya bestows prestige.
Ashim.
I was initiated to Oya in Abeokuta, in Nigeria, in Yoruba land, in 1999 at the compound of Oluwo Fatai Fagbero Amushan. Um, and I have been a practitioner. I've been an initiate. I think this year makes 24 years. I've been a practitioner for about 30 years now. Um, let's see, what else? What else you want to know?
Let me unmute myself. That's beautiful. Where were you born?
I was born in Buffalo, New York.
But we've been knowing each other. I think I met you when I moved to New York in 2003, 4, and um, strikingly beautiful. Maveri Puno to all her children, and I noticed that we connected through dance because New York is full of tambors or bimbes or even fundamentals. And so it was a pleasure of meeting you. But once I began to connect with you, you are a really, truly deep sister.
Oh,
Although
thank you.
well, yes, you are. I mean, just artistically, the things that you do, but it goes deeper than that in the scale of your background in education, what you stand for, and the things that you have done within different communities, and the people that I say that you rub shoulders with. Can you tell the people about how Oya has impacted your journey, your work, this voyage that you took, and but the first thing I would like you to speak on, how did you enter or was introduced to the Orisha tradition, the Yoruba tradition?
That's a really good question, and I think that my answer will reflect what a lot of other people have experienced. And really, what drew me into the tradition was Afro Cuban music.
I see. Mhm.
Um, and it took me a while to remember, but it was my mom who first took me to a performance of Abirikula drums at Ruth Eckerd Hall. I had to have been probably, I think I had to have been 12 years old. And Ruth Eckerd Hall is in Tampa. My family lives in is in Tampa. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to text the link to my godson because he wanted to come. Um, my mom took me and I was entranced by the music. I had never heard or seen drums. I'd never seen the bata before.
Mhm.
And I remember being so moved by the music that I got up out of my seat and I went up to the stage and I just put my hands on the stage because the stage was higher than where we were sitting, and I stood there and was transfixed by them for the whole performance. And it wasn't until years later, after I became exposed to the bata within the context of Afro Cuban music and dance in Philadelphia, that I even remembered that I had had that experience. And
Yes.
the first ceremony that I attended in Philadelphia was the Egungun procession that happens the night before Odunde. And that also was a very, what is the word that I want to use? It was a very visceral experience for me because I had a sense of like deja vu, being in the procession and being
Yes.
surrounded by the music and the egungun, and it was all very moving for me. And then from that point, I eventually got exposed to Miss Dottie and Miss Oyin and Baba Crowder and Baba John Wilkie, and I started dancing with Kulumele.
Okay.
And so once I started dancing with Kulumele, I really started learning in a formal context the dances, and then living in Philadelphia, which is very different from where I lived in the South at least, being able to have access to tambours all the time, going to tambours. I just loved the music so much that I wanted to learn the songs. So I just started coming. I used to go to every single tambour that I heard about. I was there. I was at the tambour, and honey, I was driving my little jalopy all over Philadelphia, my little beat up car, and I was all over there by like fourth, fifth, sixth, and Lehigh, up and down Roosevelt Expressway every weekend, especially during the spring and summertime, because it's easier for people to do ceremony in the spring and summer because it's cold up there. So I went to the tambours and I was intent on learning the songs. I took song classes as much as I could,
Yeah.
and then I started shadowing Iya Olo
Mm-hmm.
Olufemi doing, and you know just really learning the music and learning how to sing. So that's really what attracted me and drew me in was the music. And
Yeah.
then once I began to engage on my own kind of like individual spiritual journey, that took me towards Isheshe Lagba rather than um, La Regla de Ocha. But I never gave up my love of Afro-Cuban music and dance.
Ashen. Yes, that is a not so common, let's say, step towards, let's say, the door of Ocha, and it it's like a baobab tree, if you want to,
Mm-hmm.
it's like telling a story,
Yes.
because from, let's say, in the early 80s, and I will go into the 80s when um, the drum, or let's just say the anything that was instrumental in teaching us about our African roots was very strong during that time. Um, and that movement of having the opportunity to see not only Afro Cuban dance being brought on the scene, but also traditional dance from other cultures, as well as Nigeria as well. So you had this big rush, and I like to use this plethora
Yeah.
of culture being, given to us. In some places it was spoon fed, and then in some places it was just, you get a big, what you call calabash.
Yeah.
You get a big calabash of history and knowledge that was being shared. And then it's specifically from those people that came before us, those people that were initiated into the Orisha tradition within the United States, or those people who actually went to Cuba or went to Nigeria, because there are some that
Yeah.
actually did that.
In the
Um,
70s.
if you talk about Ibaye, King Osejumen, he also was a pioneer. The Yoruba Temple in New York. I know that there are some people that's supposed to come through tonight to maybe touch base on some of that history. But what does this all have to do with Oya?
Mm.
And we know that from what we have learned, that Oya means she tore, she
Mm-hmm.
ripped. Okay? We know that within, and and before I go into some of the attributes of about Oya, my next question on the line, and it was within that same question, is what took you from the United States of America, Philly, all the way into Nigeria to
Um,
receive Oya.
Ifa.
Wow.
I had always, I had always had a really, I was attracted to candomblé. Once I decided that I was going to practice a Yoruba based tradition, I really was attracted to candomblé. I really liked the structure of what I understood about candomblé. I liked the aesthetic. I liked the music, and I wanted to go to Brazil.
Yes.
And so when I had my head marked with the babalao, I don't even remember what year that was. He was like, "You got to go to Nigeria," and I was like, "What?" I said, "What you mean? You know, I want to go to my initiation in Brazil. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know nobody in Nigeria." And he was like, "No, you have to go because there is something, there is something in your lineage that is requiring you to go to Nigeria." And at that point, I really didn't understand what I understood what he was saying, but I did not know what exactly he was talking about in terms of my lineage. But my thing is, you know, I am not going to get a divination. I'm not going to get an Ifa divination and then don't do what Ifa says. It just
Right.
didn't, you know, it didn't make sense for me to have gone as far as getting a divination and listening to what the Odu said and what the prescriptions were, and then not follow through. So I followed through, and I was able to find somebody to take me to Abeokuta in '99.
Wow. May
And
I interrupt with that? I want to interrupt you for a second.
mhm,
You said someone, and so this was in 1989,
1999.
1999. Okay, you're 99, baby, too.
Yeah.
That was a very strong year for Oya's children. I mean, specifically, my god sister was also born in 1999, or did it say
Oh yeah,
received
Remy.
Oya Rami?
Yeah, we were
We,
marked.
yeah.
Myself, Oya Remy, and I kind of like shadow each other. So we were marked within months of each other, and
Hmm.
our heads were marked by the exact same Odu. And we were both marked to Oya by the same Odu within months of each other. And then we made Ocha in 1999, months apart from each other.
March. Yes. Yes. And it was, wow, this is deep. So you guys were marked with the same Odu in five,
Yeah,
and her and I carry the same Odu and Orisha in
right.
Oya.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. So, and just to um, follow through with some of the things that have been mentioned, um, Iya Oyadni, she mentioned a Babalao. You know, a Babalao is the um, Awo of mysteries, or let's say um, a priest who works with Orumila. Okay, Orumila is the Orisha that knows all destiny. Okay, it is um, a energy force that is regulated. I shouldn't say regulated, but it's combined with all elements of Orisha, all elements of this universe, which are called Odu. And when I think of, because I also lived in the house of Ifa um, prior to my initiation as well as my head, when we say our head, our Ori was marked by Ifa. So my initiation before I became initiated, how did I find out I was a child of Oya? Was by Ifa.
Yep.
In some cases, it's done by Dilagoon of a priest of Orisha. Is it always by the same priest that you think you're going to be initiated? And that's what we're going to go into a little bit of that because there are differences. And what we want everyone to understand is that although there are differences, there's still, we're talking about a tradition that was cared for and saved and held on to because of enslavement. You know, our brothers and sisters coming out of Africa, there are many traditions that came out of Africa. Some landed here in the United States and others landed in the Caribbean islands as well as in South America, and the list can go on and on and on. So our sister Oya Niyi went to Nigeria to receive Oya.
Hmm.
Can you explain, just very basically without divulging secrets, because we know that Orisha are born through Ewe. Orisha are born through prayer. When I say Ewe, I mean we're using herbs, which is those who have mastered and understand the art of traditional herbs, which are medicine.
Hmm.
This is not something that you just go out, pick up a book, and say, you know what, I'm going to initiate to
Myself.
Oya because these
Myself.
are these
I'm
are
gonna
nine
initiate
herbs.
myself, right?
These are the nine herbs that is used by Oya. Okay, so I got that. So I'm going to mash these up. No, that's not the way it's done, my
No.
people. It's not. Um, Talk to us a little bit about that experience. I mean, what were your feelings? Were you prepared? Um, were there other Oya priests present? And when I say present, that means were there different other priests present? Because it's not always just Oya priests present at an initiation.
Yeah. It was a very difficult um undertaking to get to the point of initiation.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I would say, really looking back over the course of my life, I was on a trajectory for initiation from a very young age.
Right.
And, for those people who study African ATRs, African traditional religions, or spiritual systems, or what have you, frequently there are hardships that people encounter that let them know you need to look into something.
Yeah.
And upon looking into that thing, that's when in divination you are told this is something that you're supposed to do. And so
Yes.
once I was told that I had to initiate, I did not have the money. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, you know.
Yes.
And I had just lost my job in Philadelphia, and I did not have the money to travel. And I just made up my mind that by hook or by crook, by hell or high water, I was going to go. But what I started doing in Philadelphia, and a lot of people don't know this, is that I started doing yards. I started doing yard work
Mm-hmm.
in order to make the money to pay for my ticket and my initiation. That was difficult.
Yeah.
And then getting to Abeokuta was difficult because the ticket that I had was, one of these roundabout tickets that was patched together with a buddy pass because I didn't have a lot of money. So it was a 2 or 3 day journey getting to Abeokuta after all of the trials and tribulations that I had faced to even get the money and everything. And so getting to Abeokuta was like, um, it was a mixed feeling because my family is from West Africa. My family is from Sierra Leone. And in 1999, Sierra Leone was embroiled in a very horrific civil war. And I had not been able to go home since like 1994 or 1995 when there was a lull in the war. So it was very bittersweet for me because I really wanted to be in Sierra Leone, but I was in Nigeria, and it was like so close, but yet so far. You know, I had this very deep yearning to be at home, and the ceremony itself was difficult. It wasn't an easy uh, ceremony to endure. Um, I think that's something that I think that's something that a lot of people are not really
Prepared for.
prepared for. They're not prepared for,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to divulge any secrets, but suffice it to say that the ceremony involves self discipline and sacrifice. You know, not just sacrifice of goats or whatever, which are eaten and then shared in the festivities, but sacrifice within yourself that you have to endure and undertake. And it was hard. It was not what, it wasn't what I expected. And it's not to say that I expected anything particular because I had no idea what to expect, you know. Um, at different moments, I was kind of scared because I was like, you know, I am not a naturally fearful person,
Right.
but there, I had a moment in the middle of my ceremony where I was like, "Girl, you done came all the way to Africa. You with strangers. Who are these people?" You know, like my mind was like, "Oh my God, what did you do? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I had to like calm myself down to be like, "You made the right decision. Nothing is gonna happen. Everything is fine," and everything was fine. It was everything ended up being really beautiful. There were other Oloya there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what is different between our systems is that one of the things that is different is that not every not every household in Yoruba land um, has all the different shrines to all the different Orisha. And so because my Oluwo has a title, and he was the Oluwo of the Ibarra district. He was
Yeah.
also in charge of the Oya in the Ibarra district. So
Yeah.
within, I want to say 1 day of my arrival in Abeokuta in Ibarra district, I was taken to the Ibarra district Oya to salute, to offer gin, to pray before, and to even throw cola before my ceremony could start, and also to make my offering to the Alba. So there's a portion of what you are doing that is offered to the Alba of that area before, you can undertake ceremony. So that was, one of the first things that we did. That,
Yeah.
yeah, was huge, honey. I was like, okay, like, okay, this is what we doing.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, like, all righty. But it makes sense because it is the Oya for an entire community rather than, an Oya just for one
That
home or
that
one individual.
house.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
So the ceremony ended up being really nice. Most of the hands-on work was done by Oluwo's apprentices, who were all Awoifa, and then there were also Oloya present who directed, certain things that were supposed to happen and whatnot. But overall, my ceremony from beginning to end, in terms of all the rituals that had to be done, took 21 days. So it started with divination, and then after my initiation, if I was consulted at different intervals of days after my initiation, going through the 21 days, and I was also um, restricted in terms of my movement. They were a little bit lenient with me because they were like, "Oh, she's from the West, so we're not going to really go hardcore." But I was restricted
Yeah.
over those 21 days that I was there.
Yes. Yes. Welcome, Oya Pidan. And we still have Oyani Lay here. And we have Takada. Do you know who Takada
Yeah,
is?
she's a friend of mine.
Wonderful. So in a short, in just give me 3 more minutes. I know I said 3 more minutes because she's dropping gems on us, and I want to be able to just Hey, there go my God sister. You know you better hit that link. Hit that link. Oh yeah, Rainy. Hit that link. Wow, she's dropping gems for us this evening. Okay, I'm gonna go to the um the comment of you letting us know 21 days. So we have the Nigerian or traditional ceremony. And can you tell us the tradition in Nigeria? I hear people say Ishishe. Of course, when I was crowned, to be honest, I knew very little bit about proper terms, and that's what I was hoping
Oh,
Baba
sure. Yeah.
Solomon would come on and speak to us about. I did take classes with Baba Solomon for 2 years, and I know Oyapidan, she will be able to touch base on this. So I'm going to bring her up, as well as I believe, who is Londa Allen? That's one of your friends too.
Ayanda, that's my godson.
Hey, Ayana. Okay, so oh yeah, Remy say not tonight, ma'am. This girl. Okay, you know what?
Is that Oh Yeah Remy? Oh Yeah Remy in Philly?
She.
I mean, oh yeah, in
I'm looking. I'm
Chicago.
looking at the live on my phone. I see her commenting. Um, she's commenting, so you probably can't see it in the back room
No,
because
no.
yeah. So 21 days.
Let me see if
So
I can.
in the
Oh, I
Lukumi,
can
and when
see it
we say
now.
Lukumi tradition, everybody, we're talking about the tradition that was brought to Cuba from Nigeria, and it was called Lukumi, which I was told is called friend, you know. Um, but it is still, and then you have the Santeria. But I'm Lukumi. I was initiated Lukumi. What does that mean? That means those people that came from Nigeria and set up Orisha on that land, because now you have different ethnic groups coming together. You have different cultures coming together. Some may have only worshipped Obatala. Some may have only worshipped Yemoja. Some may have only worshipped Oya, Shango, um, Eshu, Oshun. You had all of these uh, towns of cultures, because we know and understand that in Nigeria or in Benin or in Ghana, everybody doesn't have, or everyone doesn't need to have all the Orisha in their possession. So we could say that much. So that 21 days, and they say that in the Afro Cuban tradition as well, in the Lukumi tradition, Oya is one of the most um, tedious and lengthy ceremonies to endure as well as to go through. It starts way before all the other things that is going to happen, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
Um, we're going to now bring up a couple of folks, and while we're doing that, I'm going to ask the sister to also give her background in her work and the way that Oya has impacted your work from that time. Because you mentioned you didn't have no job, you didn't have no money, and you had to go across the water to receive Orisha on your Ori. Wow. So, how did Oya impact your work, your life, and also speak a little bit about the organization that you have developed. I know you've done so many things. It's 10:20, it's 10:21, but I'm gonna keep you on here a little bit longer because
No,
everything
it's
is
fine.
flowing.
I'm not in
So
a rush. I'm fine. I'm fine. Um, gosh, I think I actually want to double back a little bit because I feel like there's a little bit of misunderstanding between the communities with regard to the terminology that you mentioned earlier.
yes,
So, Ishe just means tradition. Ishe means tradition.
excuse me, excuse me,
Ashay.
my
Um,
um, can you mute yourself if you're not talking? Can you mute? And then once you finish talking, you can unmute yourself.
When you want to talk, right? So Ishe just means tradition, and many of us who practice a branch of the tradition from Yoruba land, we refer to um, our practice as Isheshe Lagba, or the older tradition, which is just a reference to the fact that this is the branch of the tradition that the other traditions emerged from. Um, but outside of that, there's not like a specific name. With regard to the word or the term lukumi, there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of controversy, conversation among scholars. For those people who don't know, I'm an anthropologist with part of my specialty is African and African diaspora identity, ritual, and religion. But there's controversy and conversation about the term lukumi. And one of the origins of that term is that when Africans were brought to Cuba, this is one of the terms that people use to refer to uh, other people who spoke related languages. So, for example, if you are a person who comes from Oyo and I am a person who comes from, I don't know, Ileife or Oshogbo, you might greet that person and say, "Oh, Olukumi, my friend," right? And so this became a way of people referring to the related groups of Yorubas who ended up in Cuba. And so one of the names that the Yoruba based tradition goes by in Cuba is La Regla Lukumi, or the law of the Lukumi. So um, different, and there are many different Yoruba based traditions. I also am kind of hesitant to refer to the Nigerian tradition because Yoruba land spans between both Nigeria and Benin. And Yorubas are not just one tribe. There are many different ethnicities within the Yoruba. So what you see in one area of Yoruba land with regard to the tradition might be very different from what you see in another. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there for people to know. But with regard to how Oya changed my life, she literally provided a 180-degree turn for me in my life.
Yes.
And I think that I don't know if this is true for other daughters of Oya, but I know for me, uh, living in a world where feminine fire or feminine warriorhood or feminine assertiveness, feminine um, feminine aggressiveness is really not valued, and it's usually people are usually castigated or
Practice.
discouraged from carrying
It's practice.
carrying that kind of energy. It was always very hard for me because I have never been a quote unquote soft woman. I've never been that. And even in talking to my mom, who is not a practitioner of the tradition at all, she says to me all the time, she's like, "You were supposed. I really thought you were going to be a boy. I thought you were going to be born a boy." And so it wasn't until I initiated to Oya that I finally felt like I was at home. That's the best way that I can describe it. I finally felt accepted. I finally felt like there is a place for me and what I naturally embody and what I naturally am. And I don't have to go out of my way to prove that I am valued, exactly, a sense of belonging. I don't have to prove that I am something else to somebody by changing myself. I don't have to stretch myself outside of what is natural for me. And that's not to say that I didn't feel like I had to grow and develop in my character, but those things that were naturally in me, the go getter in me, the workhorse in me, the assertiveness in me, those things, when you read about who Oya was in the Odu and what the Lukumis call the Apatakin, everything began to make sense. And so from that place, I was able to accept my own kind of, I was able to accept my own pace and my own nature and begin to leverage that for what I was doing in my life. And, I was able to, I went back to grad school. No, actually I had finished grad school at the same year that I initiated. And then shortly after that, I went back to grad school and started working on my PhD.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are not um, aware, but Oya is referred to as a profound thinker. That is one of her, attributes and her praises. And I am a bookworm. I'm somebody who really is into research, reading, digging, questioning. Sometimes I go too far, but but I was able to really kind of roll into my vocation without feeling like I should be doing something else. Like you don't always have the opportunity to feel like you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, but
Yeah.
with the support and the presence and the stewardship and the point of reference and the grounding in Oya, I was able to feel perfectly comfortable and at home with everything that I was doing and not feeling like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing something else or I'm supposed to be being or behaving or whatever, something
Yeah.
else.
Yes. Yes, definitely. I mean, that journey is so fascinating, exciting, and you just ride that wind, how it takes you, you know. Um, I will share briefly about my journey into the tradition. I'll just say the impact Oya had with me, with my work, and as a person. Oh, wow. That place of safety, yes. There are some other things that I didn't recognize about myself that clearly, oh, yeah, just went, that's not going to be there anymore. And it was the naivety, being naive,
Yeah, I had
you
the same issue.
being naive, um, the need, or to say the want to believe in people.
Yes.
Yes, a very strong, like, I believe what you tell me until you show me something different.
Yep.
Um, and then once the betrayal, how to deal with that. Um, Geez, I never was a fighter, but I know the experience I had in my Yawo year. Um, my whole body used to get hot. Um, it used to tremble. I kid you not, people. This was my experience. Um, the deodorant that I used to could wear, I couldn't wear anymore.
It wasn't doing its job.
It I couldn't wear it because it broke me out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have allergies. I didn't have allergies. Um, so I couldn't wear the deodorant anymore. I was a Yawo. I was in white for a whole year. So I wore no deodorant and no one smelled me.
Mm.
I taught dance. So for me, it was removing things. that no longer suited me. And that came with who I thought I was, who I thought I was, who I needed to become, and what I needed to learn about myself. It was the really, truly healing aspect and lifting those layers. Um, and as you were saying, with Daughters of Oya, and I believe with each Orisha, they work with their counterparts or their children in the way that they need to be developed in, or things that need to be implemented more. And sometimes, we get hard headed too.
Oh
We
yeah.
don't listen. Um, but it was about removing the veil. I was able to see a whole lot clearer um, through the eyes, behind the veil. I'll put it like that.
Mhm.
Oya deals with the mask. Oya deals with the veil. Oya deals with the breath of life and the transition of life. Oya deals with the aspects of being able to become something new, something better. When I hear about the stories, oh, you hear about these Apatakis, yeah, I was in the forest, she had on her fur, she was a antelope or she was a buffalo. I look at those things metaphorically because it's about peeling off layers, you know, and what do you attract? What are you going to bring to yourself when you peel off this layers? Or what do you need to keep on you? Because Oya is about strong medicine. So when I think about all those things, when we hear about in some of the Apatakis, and I'm not going to talk about Apatakis tonight, we're sharing how Oya impacts our life. So I'm going to stop right there because it's not all about me. We have some guests up here. It's 10:33. We have my sister. Uh, oh my goodness! Now who is this? Is this Adrian from um, Akron? I can't see well.
No.
This is Shango Wawa.
Yes.
Shango, you know what? When you were down in the bottom, I was like, wait a minute, is that the ocean? I'm like, no, we haven't seen each other for a minute.
I
And look at the
know.
beautiful hair going all laying on the side of you.
Yeah, it's
Lovely to see you. This is my
you
sister
too,
Shango
Iya.
Wawa. She is a daughter of Shango. And then
Obviously.
we also have Oya Pidan, who I actually met on Facebook, but she knows someone who's very dear to me, Shango Bukumi Ifaseye. If you are still